North Carolina's own Jeff Hardy got a hometown victory in a tag team match alongside Drew McIntyre against Happy Corbin and Madcap Hatter Moss. And then we have a main event of a Black Friday Battle Royal Invitational. Jeff Hardy makes it to the finish line, wins the match. The bell rings, or so we think. But Sami Zayn was never eliminated from the match. He was gone through the ropes, not over them. And at the last possible moment, Sami Zayn tosses Jeff Hardy over the ropes to win the Battle Royal, crushing the hometown's hopes and dreams because of heat. And Sami Zayn, who I really like a lot as a performer. If this was NXT Sami Zayn, 2016, 2017, before the heel turn Sami Zayn, I would be absolutely fine with him challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Conspiracy theorist Sami Zayn, not so much. Zero credibility as a threat. When he won, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and the Usos laughed at this result. And the worst part is, as soon as the show went off the air, Kayla Braxton announces that Brock Lesnar's indefinite suspension has been lifted and he'll be back on SmackDown this upcoming week. And that shits all over Sami Zayn's victory even more. So, CJ, what do you think about this situation regarding Jeff Hardy not getting the win in his hometown and Sami Zayn being a lame duck challenger to Roman Reigns' championship?
The Jeff Hardy thing is stupid. They should have seen the reaction to his win in the earlier match and just said, okay, let's just change the finish. If they had come up with the finish at that point in the show, we're not sure if they had planned that far ahead. That Battle Royal finish is so overdone as well. It was just, they just don't learn that, you know, everyone likes to see the hometown person win their match. You know, I was so annoyed when that happened. Sami Zayn is just so, I just don't care for him at the moment. This gimmick's just so stale. I tell you what, I just had a thought as you were saying this. Imagine if he turned up for the Roman Reigns match and he's cut his hair and he's trimmed the beard and he's back in his old tights and it's the old baby face. It would be kind of illogical, but I think it would just be such a cool thing that maybe you just look the other way. The match would be really good, and it would be even better if it was 2016-15 Sami Zayn. But yeah, it was a wrong move. Jeff Hardy should have won because it was in North Carolina, so he was over, really, really over. But he's like the most over guy on the show most of the time anyway, that isn't in the main event scene. He always gets a massive reaction. I think he's got one of the highest approval ratings of any of the wrestlers on these shows. So yeah, it was a mistake.
Scott, what's your thoughts on hometown heat for Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn pulling out the win?
So I do want to say, as far as CJ's idea with Sami Zayn cutting his hair and doing all that, I'm actually not opposed to that at all, especially if he came out and cut one of his great babyface, fiery babyface promos that he used to cut. He's like, I know what I needed to do to win the big one before, and I needed the people. So I'm back to how I was, and I want the people back on my side, and this is what I need to do. Cut some type of promo like that and explain the change and explain why he did it. You can absolutely, especially with WWE, you do something like that. That's light years ahead of what they normally do. So I'll take that. So you give me that promo, that'll be good. Especially with Sami Zayn, somebody who can cut a good babyface promo. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think that would work, especially for a one-off type thing, and then you can run with that reaction afterwards. As far as the Jeff Hardy thing, there's only two ways there's only two logical explanations for what's going on. Obviously, I know who I'm speaking of. We're talking about the guy who has the golden egg, again, with no chocolate inside of it. But we're talking about logical explanations for what's going on. So let me try to be logical about all of this. They have to either be building towards a Jeff Hardy surprise Royal Rumble win and giving him a big, Mania match against Roman Reigns, where, you're like, you can't believe it, but he just might do it. He starts picking up these big wins. And so maybe they're building that up for that, because what other reason do you keep having Jeff Hardy comes this close to a big victory? Keely, we just talked about it with the Survivor Series show. Jeff Hardy was this close to a big victory, and the crowd was ready. The crowd was ready to just explode. If he would have pinned Seth Rollins, that place would have went nuts. Same thing tonight. Like, they were ready. They were with it. So I think it has to be building towards, I think Jeff Hardy, I think as I'm thinking about it and thinking about it more, he's slowly becoming one of my favorites to win the Rumble. One, because they keep giving you these moments and taking them away at the last minute. I feel like they have to be building to giving you that big moment. And the only other explanation is they're like, we don't care if you leave. We know you're leaving, so let's just keep beating you and putting you in these spotlights. So then when you go to the other company, you're already a made man and people already have sympathy for you, and you come in as a top babyface. Like, we've never done that before, but that's what we're going to do with you. We're just going to beat you down because we know when you go to wherever you're going to go, it's not going to help you, and you're not going to go over there as a top babyface. Even though every time they do that, that's exactly, even Matt Hardy went over there and became a big deal. So imagine what a guy like Jeff Hardy would do. So those are the only two explanations I can think of, is WWE is being just illogical about it and thinking they can just beat this guy to the ground and let him go, or they're building towards a huge Jeff Hardy Royal Rumble win to set up him, because he said that's his match. That's what he wants. They're setting up him versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania, because I think Roman is going to face Brock at the Royal Rumble. I don't think we get Roman Brock at Mania. I know that's what it seems like we're building towards, but I don't think we get that. And the Sami Zayn thing, I touched on it earlier. I think that's the way to go. I think that's the only way to make this work and to even give you a shot. And you got to have him come out strong. Have him hit a hell of a kick right off the bat. As soon as the bell rings, maybe have Roman look at the crowd and he turns around, hell of a kick right off the bat. The crowd is right into it right there. You've got the crowd hooked right off the bat. They're ready to go. Because Roman's been this top dog. You have Sami Zayn come in. He's already cut a fiery babyface promo. That's the way to go about it, man. So that's how I feel about SmackDown and the Roman situation and Sami Zayn.